to order. Pledge.
Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amber, do we have any correspondence?
Yes, from Stephen Jacobs regarding the amended Community Preservation and Water Quality Improvement Project.
Good. And move on to resolutions.
Well, you can ask for comments from the public on.
Oh, right, I forgot about that part, yes, sorry. Does anyone in the public have any comments on the resolutions that we are going to read tonight? Not the public hearings, just any resolutions. Pam?
Hi, good evening. I too have I'm having difficulty with the resolution for the preservation fund, the acquisition plan. This was only brought forward to the, committee on yesterday, and the board hadn't even looked at it, read it, reviewed it. They found issues with it. And I just want to say, I'm really not sure it's ready for the public review. The board itself hasn't reviewed it, and they seem to have some very important issues that need to be resolved before you set a public hearing for this plan. And I also was wondering if you could tell me, who was it that submitted the plan to the town board? Because that's what the resolution says. It was submitted to the town board. By whom? If it wasn't the Conservation Preservation Fund Advisory Board, who submitted it to the town board?
Liaison, there's two steps. Should I respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
There are two steps I think might explain the hole that you're sensing. This was discussed numerous times, but the last time at the CPF August meeting. And at that time, it's fine, was what I got, not a formal vote, just it's fine. And I was to get a map, and in Appendix C, the priority properties, that the rationale for each of those properties would be enumerated with the letters A, B, C, et cetera. And that didn't happen, but I gave it a few months. And so I brought it to the town board. I said, I sort of worked on this hard for a year and a half. I think it's good. And I brought it to the town board work session last week. And prior to that, the week prior to that, I had emailed it to the chair and said, we're discussing this at the work session, was hoping for their involvement at that work session. We made a few changes, but there weren't very many. And then that was then sent to the CPF AB.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a lengthy process.
And since the CPF liaison has been so involved in this, and she is finishing her term at the end of this month, we wanted to bring it to public hearing so that any input that she has, we would be able to hear as well, or responses. And then depending on what type of, response we get from the public at that meeting, we will decide whether or not it will go for resolution that evening, or if it will be adjourned, if it will be closed, and discussed at a later work session, which would take place in the following year. So that would be the process.
But given the responses they had yesterday at their meeting, it seems to me that you would want to resolve those issues with this plan prior to this going to a public hearing. Things about water withdrawal, wellheads, you were there.
We've had the discussions about that. Those discussions have taken place. Those discussions have taken place at CPF meetings all along. The town board's fully aware. Yesterday was just not the first time.
It's been going on for about a year.
Yeah, more.
This
Yeah,
has been
yeah.
in progress.
And that could be part of the public hearing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everyone will be able to weigh in, and we'll decide then how to move forward.
The other thing is, I just do want to say that this can be amended at any time, should the next town board decide to do so. So maybe that was one of the things I sort of today is that if it all goes well, whatever, and we pass this, it's one less thing that has to be dealt with in January. It could be in February that they pick it up and say, look, there's these three, and see what the next town board feels about it. But this at least gets us squared with the law.
Okay, let me just say one more thing. This is also a document that is going to become an element of the comprehensive plan, and that's
No.
a most
No.
important thing to be
No.
pointed out.
Not, I don't know why you're saying
Yes,
that.
it is, because it's referenced in the full environmental assessment form that was submitted for this plan. So it is referenced in it.
It's
So-
referenced, but it's
so
not part of the plan.
Well, it's being submitted as part of the plan in that application, is it not?
No, it's not. It's not an appendix to the comprehensive plan. Would you like us to add it?
But it's being reviewed for the environmental assessment for the comprehensive plan. So they are intertwined. And the concerns that the board had yesterday make me concerned that they would like to take another look at it, discuss it with you further prior to it going to a public hearing. To clear
I
some
noted.
things up. That's all I'm saying, so
Noted.
that's all I'm
Thank you.
asking is that you
You've heard.
consider not setting the date for that public hearing. Thank you.
Noted, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we will move on to resolutions. Jim?
Yep. Whereas pursuant to New York State Town Law, Section 64-8, the town board created Community Preservation Fund, Chapter 50 of the Town Code, from which the town may purchase certain properties to preserve community character. Whereas New York State Town Law, Section 64-8, close parentheses 6, requires that the town adopt a community preservation plan, here and after referred to as quote unquote the plan. Only properties listed therein may be acquired. Whereas said plan was adopted by the town and last updated in 2014. Whereas an undated plan has been submitted to the town board for adoption. And now therefore be it resolved that a special meeting shall be held on the 28th day of December, 2023 at 1 p.m. in the Shelter Island Town Hall, Shelter Island, New York, for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or opposition to the proposed updated plan. So moved.
Second. All in
I
favor?
just want to make a note that Jimmy read undated, whereas an undated plan has been submitted, it's updated.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Second to last one.
Yes, I'm sorry.
And with that correction,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carried. Whereas the town board finds that an update to align the New York State law is warranted regarding non-union employee overtime and compensatory time, including as to the manner in which it is paid, and now therefore be it resolved that the Town Code, Chapter 18, Section 7, entitled Overtime, shall be amended by deleting the stricken words and adding the underlined words as follows. 18-7, overtime and compensatory time. A, overtime shall be paid only for work performed in excess of 40 hours at a rate of 1.5 times the regularly hourly wage, and shall be paid by being included in the regular payroll. Or B, compensatory time off may be authorized on an hourly basis of 1.5 hours per each hour worked over 40 hours. And then the old language is stricken. Be it further resolved that the Town of Shelter Island Employee Handbook, Section 602, entitled Overtime/Compensatory Time, shall be amended by deleting the stricken words and adding the underlined words as follows. And it's the same wording on overtime in excess of 40 hours and compensatory time. So moved.
Second.
I just do have a question. Would it be, is this a proper place to say shall be paid in the pay period in which it is earned, or within a month, or is this not the right place for
This is
that?
not the right place. And we do need to fix when employees are turning in their
Overtime, okay.
But
That's not here.
an administrative thing that we're going to work on in the new year.
Yeah, great.
So, end of discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Shelter Island, that low nitrogen sanitary system rebates previously authorized on the listed dates to the following individuals in the following amounts are adjusted per town board resolution number 316 on August 8, 2023 as follows. Should I read each individual?
There's only 6 of them.
Yeah, okay, authorized. So on 11/13/2020, Melissa Elliott, $8,000. Original updated rebate, $16,000. On November 13, 2020, Stephanie Franks, original $8,000, updated $12,000. 11/13/2020, Mary Frank Gleason, original $6,000, updated $12,000. 8/16/2022, Smith/Greenberg, $8,000 original, $16,000. Well, 9/27/2022, Michael Derby, $6,000, updated $12,000. 9/27, Alex Hash, $8,000, updated $16,000. Well, so moved.
Second, and when you say well, that just means that they had to.
Additional expense.
They're getting an additional $4,000,
Right.
that expensive.
And not everybody has the reason why the update, but that's okay.
Okay, second,
Yeah, I mean, the only reason, there's just a
Yes.
question on that, was just, the originally, like, if you look at Alex Sash, they were given a $6,000 rebate and $2,000 for well relocation. Under the new updated guidelines, we upped it from $6,000 to $12,000 and $4,000 for well relocation to better reflect current prices.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So the well is that they were originally
Okay, yeah.
approved for
Yes.
a well
Yeah.
relocation rebate. So,
I'll
all in
second that
favor?
then.
Oh, you did second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye,
Meg,
Note that Meg is,
you want to knock on the door?
yes. Okay. Thanks, okay. Be resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to advertise for sealed bids for the purchase of fuel oil for the medical building, highway department building, and the Legion Hall for the year 2024. So moved.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Be it resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to advertise for sealed bids for the purchase of propane for the town of Shelter Island for the calendar year 2024 for the police department, town hall, justice hall, and ambulance building. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Whereas requests for proposal were received by the town clerk until 3 PM on the third day of November 2023 for the Shelter Island Ferry Flood Mitigation Study to conduct a feasibility analysis to examine factors which influence flooding and subsequently restrict service at the North Ferry Company and South Ferry Company landings, which were opened publicly and read as follows. Delandro Andrews Engineering, $202,555. LK McLean Associates PC, $160,200. And whereas the town engineer has reviewed and proposed said bid to the town board, now therefore be it resolved that said bid is hereby awarded to LK McLean Associates PC. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Whereas there has been a vacancy in the assessor's office, and whereas assistance is required to prepare assessment roll, among other duties, whereas the town board is seeking to hire a consultant to assist in the completion of the said assessment roll and perform other ancillary functions, whereas James Richardson expressed interest in being such a consultant, now therefore be it resolved that James Richardson is hereby hired as an assessment aid consultant for the hourly rate of $30 per hour, not to exceed 35 hours a week, retroactive to December 8, 2023. And be it further resolved, the town supervisors hereby authorized to sign any and all documents in connection therewith. So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
be it resolved that William Garrity is hereby appointed to serve as the chairman of the Waterways Management Advisory Council. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Be it resolved that Richard Dwyer is hereby appointed to serve as senior cook at the annual salary rate of $46,900 effective December 27th, 2023 for 32 hours per week with a probationary period of 26 weeks starting December 27th, 2023. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that Emily Needham is hereby appointed to serve as provisional senior citizen nutrition senior manager at the annual salary rate of $56,800 effective from December 20th, 2023 for 35 hours per week with a probationary period of 26 weeks from December 20th, 2023. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Whereas,
Go ahead.
whereas New York State Department of Taxation and Finance has issued a notice of vendor collection credit to the town of Shelter Island for the period ending November 30th, 2023, in the amount of $105.89. Now therefore be resolved, supervisors hereby authorized and directed to transfer the sum of $105.89 from the trust and agency account to the general account. So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
aye. Be it resolved, the following 2023 budget revisions are hereby approved. $4,028.33 increase to the 2023 A2680 insurance recovery revenue account to be funded by the reimbursement checks from New York MIR for claim number TSHI-2023-003-001 and TSI-2023-006-001 and $4,028.33 increase to the 2023 A3120.4100 police maintenance expense account. So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved that the following budget modifications are hereby approved. $61,801.69 from the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund to DA 9950.0 Highway Capital Equipment and Projects for the second payment of the 2023 Freightliner 108 SD. $10,000 increase to A 2130A C&D / Furniture in Revenue Code, and $10,000 increase to A 8160.451 Hauling C&D. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved that the following budget transfers are hereby approved, and there's a significant list of budget transfers that can be found at the town clerk's office. So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
be resolved, the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to expend the sum of $2,720 from the A 1330.476 Receiver of Taxes Computer Software Account to Edmunds GovTech, Inc. for the annual tax collection software fee. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Be resolved that the 2023 general claims number 2163 through 2260, in the amount of $86,121.44. And the 2023 highway claims number 218 through 233, in the amount of $66,267.11. And the Community Preservation Fund claims number 24 through 26, the amount of $14,990.72 are hereby approved for payment as audited. And the supervisor and/or any town board member is hereby authorized and directed to sign the approval of the payment of same. So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
So that ends the first batch of resolutions, and so we will open the public hearing on the proposed local law entitled "A Local Law to Extend the Moratorium on the Processing and Approval of Special Permits by the Town Board in connection with applications for one-family dwellings and accessory structures with a square foot living area greater than 5,999 square feet by 6 months." And I guess I just read the notice, didn't I? I'll learn.
Is there more to read, or is that?
No, that's
No, that's it, sorry.
a double read.
Yeah, no, we don't need to double read. So we open the public hearing to anyone who wants to weigh in. Okay, there being no public comment, then we will, oh, wait, Stephen Jacobs.
I just think the public should be aware that last week, the Suffolk County Planning Commission recommended against a 6-month extension, but in favor of a 3-month extension.
Yes, we have noted that. The hearing was, the public hearing was noticed as 6 months. And when we do resolutions at the end of the meeting, we are planning on changing it to 3 months. And since it's a minor change, the timing of it all, we don't think that,
And particularly it's lesser.
since it's a lesser amount, we don't have to go back and renotice it and hear it again.
Yes, and just, we are seeking this extension because we need more time to incorporate the vast amount of public input on the comprehensive plan. And this is tied with the comprehensive plan because we need to update your zoning as with a comprehensive plan, and we're in the midst of updating our comprehensive plan. So that's why the town is seeking the extension, and we're seeking the 6 months. However, when we went in front of the Suffolk County Planning Commission, they requested that we reduce it to 3 months, and that was in line with the staff report that was issued on November 22nd, I believe. And the staff recommendation is approval of the extension so long as it's 3 months. And, well, actually, no, let me take a step back.
Disconnect it from the
Yes, that was important. Yeah.
Correct. I misspoke. So when we appeared in front of the Suffolk County Planning Commission, we were appearing and requesting a 6-month extension. During that meeting, they asked us to do a 3-month, or that's what they were going to approve. The staff recommendation, however, approved our extension for 6 months, so long as we came back within 3 months and gave them an update. So the staff report, which they typically rely on, approved the 6-month that we were asking for because they saw that we were exercising due diligence with the comprehensive plan. So again, there were voices on the Suffolk County Planning Commission that are generally averse to moratoriums generally. And, so they asked us to consider a 3-month because they know that the town board is empowered through a supermajority to override their recommendation and go ahead with a 6-month. But I believe the town board members would prefer to go in line with what the Suffolk County Planning Commission was recommending, a 3-month moratorium.
And to reduce the inconvenience on people who are seeking to build homes. That's,
And
another
also
piece.
to keep the process going.
Yes.
To keep it moving along, time is of the essence.
Yeah.
Correct.
So,
Anyone else?
anyone else? All right, so we will close that hearing. And the next public hearing is proposed local law to impose a 6-month moratorium on the processing and approval of documents. Is that it on the, have I just read it again?
That's it.
Have to read it.
Okay, all right. So we will open that hearing.
We do have Mr. Garrity here who would like to speak on it.
Okay. Bill, you're muted, but if you want to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, I was just here in case anyone had any questions. Basically, I made my presentation to the town board. I'm glad it's gotten this far. I understand that you may want to wait for feedback from the Suffolk County Planning Commission. I would love to see this put into place as soon as possible. We're busy working on a shoreline definition for the entire island, as well as revising the code. And I think we're making good strides, but it'll take some time, but we'd like to see it put in place as soon as possible.
Thank you. And I think what we, actually, I'll see if there's anyone else from the public who wants to speak on this.
Let me read, can I just read the summary on it? Just in case folks aren't aware. A local, you got it, thank you. The purpose of this law is to temporarily suspend the acceptance and processing of dock applications for new docks so as to ensure that such docks are designed in a way that they do not create any environmental harm, are located in suitable and safe locations, and do not negatively impact the use and enjoyment of our waters by residents and their guests. Close your 6 months.
Yes, and it's very narrow, just new docks.
Just new docks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually defined dock in the moratorium, so it's crystal clear that it's just docks.
And Bill,
Right.
you were going to add something?
Sorry.
I know, I was saying, Bill, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just was going to mention that we did get some correspondence from Peter Reich wanting to clarify how narrowly drawn this was. And I believe, as Stephen just pointed out, it does specifically identify just docks. Peter had asked about the application, since you use the same application for docks as well as other water control structures, but the application itself does break that out into two different definitions. So I think it's really clear that we're just talking about docks.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we are going to, because we are waiting for Suffolk County Planning Commission to opine on this, we are going to adjourn this public hearing and reopen it when we have gotten feedback from them. So we will not be doing a resolution. And the only request to WMAC is to continue working on this, so that when we do the moratorium, we are already on our way.
Yeah.
They don't need a moratorium to keep working.
Exactly. All right, so
And we reinforced that at the WMAC meeting, the sense of urgency on this. You know, this is the time of the year, you know, November, December, January, February, March. We could go get this done with dock applications start to increase come springtime. So, you know, more time is not always the best thing. So push people a little bit to go get it done, you know, and Bill's been, the subcommittee has been working very nicely and making some strides already, so.
Will this be confusing for anyone who has has just handed in recently? How many do you have?
4.
4.
It seemed to be a hurry-up drill once they heard that a moratorium was.
They are complete as of now.
Yeah, they're incomplete, yes. Right, and the fee structure had changed too.
Yeah, they don't have the
I told-
DEC approval.
Then they'll start sending 2. You're missing that, and I told them to start sending 2 separate checks, one for the application fee and a separate one for the filing fee, because it's,
Right.
if we revise it, it changes.
And we will appear in front of the Suffolk County Planning Commission on January 3rd.
January 3rd, okay, good.
Okay.
It's possible we can get the second. When's the January meeting?
WMAC?
No, town board meeting.
Oh, Temple.
The second. So it's
Yeah, so
before
no-
Suffolk County Planning.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the work session is the second. Meeting is.
Yeah, the work session is the second, and my briefcase, we haven't
The
set the meeting.
22nd,
I was gonna say, yeah, we haven't set the meetings yet, but we're playing with the dates.
Okay.
so by the 22nd, which is.
Okay, that should be sufficient time.
Yes, okay, that's good to know.
You may want to adjourn it to the 22nd, and if for some
Yes.
reason we don't have it, we can adjourn it again, but safe to say that we should have something.
Yes.
Bill has got his hand up.
Yeah, if I could just ask a procedural question. So if it is on the 22nd, we'll have the same hearing basically as tonight. It'll be open to the public to comment on the 22nd. And hopefully we'll have the Suffolk County Planning Commission in place at that point, and then we'd be able to move forward. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And the 4 applications that we have in, are they deficient because they don't have DEC permits? Is that the same for all 4?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, appreciate it.
Do we have to vote to adjourn or just adjourn it?
You vote to adjourn.
Okay. All in favor of adjourning?
Oh, you want a second on that? Or no?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I make the motion to adjourn.
Second that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, then we will open the public hearing on shellfish. This time I'm going to let you read it.
The proposed local law entitled, a local law amending chapter 108 entitled Shellfish to create a commercial shellfish permit, remove prohibition on returning starfish and whelks, create a shellfish permit review board, and to increase penalties.
And so I will open this public hearing.
You may want to just read the intent and the summary.
Okay.
No page.
You got
The
it?
town board finds that resident commercial shell fishermen are a critical resource to the island, and their livelihood needs to be safeguarded, as they have a vested interest in the health of our bays and island. Further, it has been determined that the number of shellfish living in our bays has decreased by limiting who can take the shellfish to residents, not only, by limiting who can take shellfish to residents, not only protects the welfare of our shell fishermen, but also residents generally, while at the same time supporting the revival of the shellfish. I need to add some apostrophes.
And then the summary of the proposed law is to address the inconsistency between the town of Shelter Island and the rest of the East End towns, which protect resident commercial shell fishermen by limiting the taking of shellfish to residents of that town. Further, the decrease in the number of shellfish within our bays needs to be ameliorated by limiting the taking of shellfish to residents only for both recreational and commercial purposes, along with a more robust permitting process and increased fines. That being said, does anyone wish to speak to this public hearing. This has been pretty well vetted with the bay fishermen, so.
Yeah, this is something that they've sought for a while now, so, it's something that we've listened to and we're acting upon based on their recommendations.
That's a good question.
Oh, sure, come on up to the podium. Sure, state your name.
My name is Benjamin Diet. But my question is, how does this interact with the county law? Because the county has the scout program, I think it's called. I'm just curious.
It's more DEC state level, am I right?
Yeah, that's what.
I don't know how it can, county.
Yeah, so the DEC, are you talking on a commercial basis or recreational basis?
Commercial.
Commercial, so yeah, the DEC issues a digger's permit. So this is in addition to that. So we're saying that even if you have a DEC digger's permit, you can't come in our waters and you can't commercially harvest. Only resident commercial shellfishermen could harvest in our waters.
Which the other 4 towns have already.
Yes, yeah.
So they think that's okay.
We can be more,
I'm surprised.
Yeah, you could be more.
we can be more restrictive, not less restrictive. The DEC.
And then another interesting thing we did was we created a shellfish review board because we're very strict as to who is a resident for a commercial permit.
Yes.
So, we require that you provide for commercial permits, you have to provide a local driver's license, a tax stub or a lease to a local Shelter Island address, a voter registration or affidavit that you're not registered to vote, and a valid digger's permit. But some people that are commercial shellfishermen like to live off the grid and don't have those things. So we formed this Shellfish Review Board to give them an opportunity to come in and make that case. The Shellfish Review Board would be the town attorney, the harbor master, and one bayman. So they would sit and vet that person. Also, they would sit if a permit is to be revoked. And also, what's interesting is we decided to charge them with providing an annual update to the town board regarding the health of the waters. And also, we put an affirmative obligation on the commercial permittee by April 30th each year to provide the town board with an annual harvest report.
Which they're preparing
Which they do for the DEC anyway.
It's not additional.
Yeah, so we get it too, and then we'll incorporate it into a full report to the health of the base, the town on an annual basis.
Very good. Excellent.
One. If there are no additional comments, we will close that hearing. And the next public hearing is on the use of WQI. Remember?
On a public hearing shall be held on the proposed use of funds from the Water Quality Initiative to pay the 2023 annual dues to the Peconic Estuary Partnership in the amount of $11,900.
Is that 2023 or 2024?
We went through this last time, 2020.
Okay, okay.
Double check.
I just double checking.
We were a little late. We apologize to Pep for our lateness there. It was a misunderstanding on our part. That's been on a sliding scale. It's been increasing over the course of the last couple of years. But we pay a fraction, a small fraction compared to East Hampton, Southampton, who are paying over $100,000 or 70 some odd $1,000 to PEP. So our annual dues is by far the lowest of the 5 East End towns, significantly lower. But we do get a lot of the benefits as a result of.
It says 2024 in the resolution.
Yeah, we should. Change that.
So is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this? There being no one, we will close that public hearing. And the next public hearing is on the New York State Senior Citizens Property Tax.
Public hearing shall be held on the proposed resolution in connection with the New York State Senior Citizens Real Property Tax Exemption.
And just to summarize on that one, any social security benefits that were not included in the applicant's federal adjusted gross income are not considered to be income, and distributions received from IRAs or individual retirement annuities will be included in the applicant's federal adjusted.
This is sort of connected. I mean, that's such a great word, sort of. Because the exemption has been raised, the amount of income you're allowed to earn and still receive this exemption has been raised. So prior to this, it made sense that you didn't count the IRA distributions. But now that the amount you can earn is more.
You know what that number
This
is?
is fair. I feel like it's 50.
I think it's 56.
56, isn't it 58? It's in the 50s.
Okay.
It used to be if you earned more than 36,000, 32,000,
okay.
you didn't get it, which
Yes.
is out here,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak on this one? Being none, we will close that public hearing. And the next public hearing is on a bulkhead application.
On the application of 34 Shelter Associates, co-owner Kenneth Tropin, 3 Sylvester Road, for permission to remove and dispose of 115 feet of existing north bulkhead, construct a new 115-foot north bulkhead in kind in place.
And WMAC met on December 4th, 2023. It's in place in kind by a vote of 6-0 approved.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this application? There being no one, we will close that public hearing and open the next one on a boat lift application.
On the application of Shelter Waterfront Association LLC, co-owner Kenneth Tropin, 1C Sylvester Road, for permission to remove existing 8,000-foot or 8,000-pound boat lift, install a new 8,000-pound boat lift in kind in place.
Met on the same day, December 4th, and by a vote of 6-0 approved this in kind in place.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this application? There being no one, we will close that public hearing and open the public hearing on a mooring application.
On the application of Thomas Bliss, 32 Baldwin Road, for permission to install a mooring at a location designated as latitude 41.05657 degrees north and longitude 72.34.161 degrees west.
This WMAC met back in November. It was November 6th by a vote of 6-0. Approved this application as a takeover mooring. The available mooring was W1749, which is what would be approved, 6-0.
Anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this application, on this public hearing? There being nobody, we will close that public hearing and then reopen the meeting for some additional resolutions. Go to the right page here. Okay. Yeah, so we're not doing, just to clarify, Steve, just to clarify, we're not going to, since we've adjourned the dock
Right.
permits, we're not going to do this.
Yeah, we'll wait till the comments come.
Correct.
Okay, so the first one that you would read, Jim, is the one, the
Moratorium on this.
local law 14, and we're going to put, substitute 3 months, 6 months.
Right. Yeah,
You marked it up?
Yes.
yeah.
Got it, I marked it up.
A local law entitled, a local law to extend the moratorium on the processing and approval of special permits by the town board in connection with the applications for one-family dwellings and accessory structures with a square foot living area of greater than 5,999 square feet by 3 months. Well, you didn't put that.
It doesn't need to start with the whereas.
Oh,
The very first,
No, disregard that.
yeah, you have to do this and just.
I thought you just wanted me to read the highlight.
Oh, no.
Okay. All right, whereas a public hearing was duly held on the 12th day of December 2023, for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition to a proposed law entitled a local law to extend the moratorium on the processing and approval of special permits by the town board in connection with the application for one-family dwellings, accessory structures, with a square foot living area greater than 5,999 square feet by 6 months.
3 months.
Which has been changed to 3 months, which provides the following. A local law entitled a local law to extend, and again, it says exactly the same, by 3 months, be it enacted by the town board of the town of Shelter Island as follows. Section 1, legislative intent. Due to the comprehensive plan being updated and concerns over the number of large homes being built on the island, by local law number 5 of 2023, the town board of the town of Shelter Island enacted a 6-month moratorium on the processing and approval of special permits by the town board in connection with the applications for one-family dwellings and accessory structures with a square foot living area of greater than 5,999 square feet. Said moratorium became effective on June 20th, 2023, when local law number 5 was filed with the Secretary of State. Since the enactment of the moratorium, the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee has made significant progress towards completing a draft comprehensive plan update to present to the town board. However, a significant amount of public comment was provided on the draft and is currently being reviewed. Additionally, a town subcommittee was formed and has been evaluating the subject special permit process and will be presenting options to the town board to be concurrently reviewed with the comprehensive plan update. Therefore, be it necessary for the moratorium to be extended to afford sufficient time for the adoption of the comprehensive plan update and the adoption of any resultant zone code amendments. Section 2, moratorium extended term. Local law number 5 of 2023 imposing a 3-month moratorium on the processing and approval.
Wasn't that one was 6 months?
No, he
'cause that's-
changed it. I'm reading what he changed it to,
Oh, okay,
Okay.
okay.
right?
The original one was 6. I may have mistakenly.
Yeah.
Now I got this right.
All right.
Local law
I
5.
got
was-
3 happy.
Okay, oh, you got 3 happy, okay. Imposing a 6-month moratorium on the processing and approval of special permits by the town board in connection with the application for one-family dwellings and necessary structures on a square footage of greater than 5,999 square feet is hereby extended for an additional 3-month period of time through March 20th, 2024. B, except as otherwise amended herein, all the other provisions of local law number 5 of 2023 shall be extended for an additional 3-month period of time through June 20th, 2024. Is now cut back to March 20th, 2024.
We gave you the easy one, Jim.
Well, listen, I'm
sorry.
You didn't, I would have just read the thing as I had it. Section 6, the authority, the proposed local law is enacted pursuant to New York State Constitution, Article 9 of the Municipal Home Rule Law 10. Section 7, supersession. To the extent of any provision of this local law are construed as inconsistent with the provisions of New York State Town Law Sections 264, 265, 265 Alpha, 267 Alpha, 267 Bravo, 274 Alpha, 274 Bravo, and 276. This local law is intended pursuant to the New York State Municipal Home Rule Law Sections 10, parentheses 1, III, and Section 22 to supersede any said inconsistent authority. Section 8, severability. If any section of the subsection, paragraph, clause, phrase, or provision of this law shall be adjudged invalid or held unconstitutional by any court of competent jurisdiction, any judgment made thereby shall be effective, may not affect the validity of this law as a whole, or any part thereof other than part provision so adjudicated to be invalid or unconstitutional. The effective date of this local law shall take effect upon the filing with the Secretary of State pursuant to the Municipal Home Rule Law. Summary of the law. The purpose of this law is to extend the moratorium on the acceptance and processing of special permit applications for larger homes with a square foot living area that exceeds 5,999 square feet by 3 months, so that the comprehensive plan may be updated and any resultant zoning changes adopted so as to ensure that homes are kept in keeping with the character of Shelter Island and do not create excessive environmental harm. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next, and moving on to.
Keeping on the toes.
Yeah, I guess you are.
Whereas a public hearing was duly held on the 12th day of December 2023 for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition to a proposed local law entitled A Local Law Amending Chapter 108 entitled Shellfish to create a commercial shellfish permit, remove the prohibition on returning starfish and whelks, create a shellfish permit review board, and to increase penalties, of which provides as follows. This is local law number 15 of 2023. A local law amending Chapter 108 entitled Shellfish to create a commercial shellfish permit, remove the prohibition on returning starfish and whelks, create a shellfish permit review board, and to increase penalties. I'll read the legislative intent. To Section 1, the town board finds that resident commercial shell fishermen are a critical resource to the island and their livelihood needs to be safeguarded as they have a vested interest in the health of our bays and islands. Further, it has been determined that the number of shellfish living in our bays has decreased, and by limiting who can take the shellfish to residents, not only protects the welfare of our shell fishermen, but also residents generally, while at the same time supporting the revival of the shellfish. I will, the rest of the law is on file with the town clerk's office. So I'm going to skip to the end to the summary of proposed legislation. There. Okay, summary of proposed law. The purpose of this local law is to address the inconsistency between the town of Shelter Island and the rest of the East End towns, which protect resident commercial shell fishermen by limiting the taking of shellfish to residents of that town. Further, the decrease in the number of shellfish within our bays needs to be ameliorated by limiting the taking of shellfish to residents only for both recreational and commercial purposes, along with a more robust permitting process and increased fines. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Whereas a public hearing was duly held on the 12th day of December 2023 for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition to a proposed use of funds from the Water Quality Initiative to pay the 2023 annual dues to the Peconic Estuary Partnership in the amount of $11,900. Now therefore be it resolved that supervisor is hereby authorized to expend the amount of $11,900 for the Water Quality Initiative funds from the Community Preservation Funds account for the payment of the annual dues to the Peconic Estuary Partnership. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Whereas a public hearing was duly held on the 12th day of December 2023 for all interested persons to be held in favor of or in opposition to a proposed resolution in connection with the New York State Senior Citizens Real Property Tax exemption to allow for the following. 1, any Social Security benefits that were not included in the applicant's federal adjusted gross income are not to be considered income. 2, distributions received from an IRA, individual retirement account, or an individual retirement annuity that were included in the applicant's federal adjusted gross income are to be considered income. Be resolved that the town board does hereby approve said resolution. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Whereas 34 Shelter Associates LLC in care of Ken Tropin of 3 Sylvester Road on November 20th, 2023, petition of the town of Shelter Island for permission to remove and dispose of 115 feet of existing north bulkhead. Construct a new 115-foot north bulkhead in kind in place. And whereas a public hearing was duly held on December 12th, 2023 for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition, now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to the New York CRR 617.5 C2, this application deemed a type 2 action. Reasons for supporting this determination: the proposed construction, number 1, will not cause obstruction to inter-navigated channels or interfere with navigation. 2, will not adversely affect the public's right to use town waters or land under town waters. Number 3, will not adversely affect shellfishing grounds or other aquatic wildlife which may exist in the immediate area. Number 4, will not adversely affect the quality of tidal waters, shoreline, or beaches. Number 5, will not adversely affect the rights of adjacent residents. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized to issue a permit for the aforementioned construction as per specifications filed after said applicant pursuant to section 53-9 of the Code of the Town of Shelter Island has filed with the town clerk a certificate that the owner has at least $300,000 liability insurance on the location and operations covered by said permit, a copy of the contractor's current home improvement contractor's license, a certificate from the contractor performing the operations covered by said permit, that said contractor has an owner/contractor's policy issued in favor of the town of Shelter Island with a liability limits of at least $500,000 covering operations of the contractor pursuant to said permit. And be it further resolved that said operation shall be completed within 1 year from the date of issuance of this permit. Said permit is subject to the recommended limitations and any requirements that may be necessary under New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the Army Corps of Engineers, or any other agencies having jurisdiction. So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Whereas Shelter Waterfronts Associates LLC, care of Ken Tropin, 1C Sylvester Road, on November 20th, 2023, petitioned the town of Shelter Island for permission to remove existing 8,000-pound boat lift, install new 8,000-pound boat lift in kind in place. Whereas a public hearing was duly held on December 12th, 2023, for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition, now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to NYCR 617.5C2, this application is deemed a type 2 action. The reasons for supporting this determination are the same as the prior resolution. The stipulations on authorizing the permit by the town clerk are the same stipulations as the prior resolution, and the completion date and subject to the same Department of DEC, Army Corps, et cetera, is all the same as the prior one. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Whereas Thomas Bliss, 32 Baldwin Road, has petitioned the town of Shelter Island for permission to install a mooring at location designated as 41.05657 degrees north and 72.34161 degrees west, formerly occupied by the George Storm W-1749 mooring. And whereas a public hearing was duly held on the 12th day of December, 2023, for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition, now therefore be it resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized to issue a permit for the aforementioned installation. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So that's it on the resolutions. So now we will open the meeting to the public. Being no public comments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second. No.
No,
That's her
that's
hand.
my, yeah.
Sorry.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.